Hi, everybody, and welcome to the postseason edition of the Alvin Parker Coaches Show. Great to have you with us. Thank you for making us a part of your weekday and weeknight as we gear up for the postseason. The new season begins for Virginia Union this weekend at home, right, Coach?
Correct.
This weekend against California, PA, a member of the PSAC conference at Hovey Field. Always joined by head coach Dr. Alvin Parker. Fifth, if I'm right, fifth straight or fourth straight?
Fourth.
I'm getting the numbers all confused. Oh, that's right. You're one of 5 schools in Division II. That's what Diego Rollin pointed out on Twitter. One of 5 schools in the entire country in Division II that can make the claim that you have made the postseason 4 straight seasons. Different wave of emotions when we were together for the announcement for a selection show. Seemed like it was more subdued than in recent years. Is that a fair assessment when they found out officially that they were in?
I think just with the body of work that they felt like they put in, they knew the name was going to be called. Kind of just figuring out, where and who you're going to play and those type of things were some of the things that logistically that I think everybody just kind of wanted to know. But we felt good about, the way we positioned ourselves all season. So, like if these guys are seniors in this program, they've set in 3 other one of those, and some of those you were holding your breath, but I don't think Sunday was one of those.
Yeah, like last year when you guys won it, that was, I want to say, the first time you guys, or the CIAA as a whole, actually had the automatic bid to get into the Division II postseason. This year, obviously, with, like you said, with the body of work, you guys knew you were in. It was just a matter of would you get a home game or not. After the championship final and against Johnson C. Smith, what was the message with the team about, hey, what's going to be in front of you come Sunday and, hopefully moving forward?
Oh man, it's always hard to get refocused after a loss, especially when you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds. So because it's something that gladly don't happen around here too often.
Right.
So we got them refocused and they were ready to go. On Sunday. Sunday's a work day for us around these parts. So you don't get a lot of time to lick your wounds and kind of say, man, we coulda, shoulda, woulda. We had to get right back on it. And those guys did a good job of that. The coaches got right back on it. And started focusing up, making sure we made the corrections, and then we kind of played the waiting game a little bit on Sunday because once you get everything kind of corrected from your game, you generally start game planning. But
right.
We had no idea who we were going to be game planning for, so it kind of made a little bit of dead time in the day, but we still found some stuff to do to kind of make sure we can continue moving things along for the week and make sure we had things kind of ready to go. So it's always a good thing, to be playing in the postseason.
I was going to say, yeah.
When you hit it, I told the guys on Sunday the message would have been the same, had we won that CIAA championship game or lost. At this point, no matter how that went, when you hit this bracket, it's win or go home. So the message is the same, win or go home.
How quickly was it for you personally to get over the loss on Saturday? Or have you got over the loss on Saturday?
Well, look, if you ask, it's been you ask my wife, she say I take losing tough, and I do, not in a sore loser manner, but I think, like I said, probably earlier in the season, people don't still understand how hard it is to win one football game, and to go into a championship game and not necessarily come out of your favor, to a great team. I feel good about, the team that we lost to and their chances in the postseason as well. We was able to play those guys twice this season, so we know we lost to a good team, but you know what? We feel like we're a good team too. So we feel like we could have played better and some things like that. That you want to make sure that you just don't, leave feeling like that. I've been in some games that you feel like you gave yourself every chance to win and you didn't. And I've been in some games where you feel like you just didn't play your best and then give yourself enough chances to win. So being on the side of both of those things, make you kind of take little things in a different type of retrospect. But I feel good about where we are now, right here, heading to Saturday.
You guys were tied with JCSU at 14 in the second quarter. Curtis Allen, Offensive Player of the Year from the CIAA. And then it seemed like it completely flipped to Johnson C. Smith's side. What changed when you were on the sideline or you got a chance to reevaluate the film? What changed in that stretch for JCSU to kind of pull away from you guys?
They made more plays, so I applaud them guys for that. They made more plays than we did, and when you get in the championship game, it's about who makes more plays and less mistakes, because both of the teams that are in the championship, they're there for a reason. And they're both championship teams. You're talking about two 9-1 teams. You know, a team that's ranked second and third in the region. You know, some good quality football was played in Durham on Saturday. So when you get into that type of game, you know, you got to make sure you don't make as many mistakes we did. You got to make sure you make a few more plays we didn't. You know, those guys did. So, you know, hats off to them. They won the game and they're the champs. So, you know, now we get ready for the postseason.
Was there any concern about the loss maybe dropping you further down where you wouldn't have a home game that first week? Like you said, you came in at 2, so you knew you probably were going to be in regardless. But I guess how it looked, maybe you thought the committee was like, they're going to penalize us and make us go on the road. Was there any thought about that for the first weekend?
No, I didn't really necessarily think about it in that fashion because we had already played those guys during the season. And, you know, with already having a victory over those guys during the season, we knew that would kind of be, you know, put in the mix as well, you know. So to split with them like we did, I think, you know, them just kind of flipping us from 2 to 3 and kind of changing positions like that was something that was fair. And, you know, the NCAA kind of took that into consideration, and I'm sure, you know, but in terms of just how the game and how it was played and things like that, again, it's 2 championship level teams, you know, both, you know, fighting for the championship and a way to make their mark in the playoffs. So, and both of us are in. And
to have 2 CIAA schools to have home games, that says a lot about, like you have said all year, the depth of the conference, the quality of play in the CIAA, to have you and JCSU 2-3 in the region and both having a home game and a possible third matchup for you guys should you win your first round game this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just speaks volume to the conference, to the level of coaching, to the level of players that we have in this conference. You know, I mean, I've said that all year, you know, and it's not just words. You know, we get a chance to play and coach against these guys on a week in and week out basis. So, you know, we know, it's a bunch of quality football being played in this league, and now the world gets to see it. You know, coming into a region, you know, that people say, you know, we were going to have trouble in, and that people say, this wasn't the style of ball that, you know, CIAA kind of, you know, played and things like that. To have 2 teams come out in the region as the 2 and the 3, again, like I said, speaks to the quality and the level of football that we play.
And the schedule that you guys set up starting all the way, it seemed like it was last week, but goes back to August when you were in Canton. I get the sense that you guys feel that you are battle tested and are ready for Cal PA this weekend to start your postseason run.
Yeah, I think you set it up for that. You know, when you've been there, you know, it makes you kind of want to, you know, set everything up to keep going back. And we've successfully done it. You know, 4 years straight. You know, so we feel like we know the recipe. We feel like we know what has to go into it. We feel like we know how we have to prepare these guys, you know, a certain way for that. You know, they play a long season. I think last year we played about 15 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was a preparation level that you had to do to get to that point. You know, so again, you know, we feel like we know it, you know, and I'm glad we do, because it puts us in a position where we can kind of have our team ready for when it comes to games like this.
There won't be the off factor of these guys going on Hovey Field this weekend to play Cal PA, and we're going to talk more about that matchup. The first round of the Division II NCAA tournament starts Saturday. We'll talk about the opponent and also the postseason accolades Virginia Union received this season next on the Alvin Parker Coaches Show.
The styles you want, the brands you love, with the service you deserve. Better Menswear. From formal to casual wear, we carry quality men's clothing at sensible prices, where fashion and service meet affordability. That is Better Menswear.
All right, back for our final segment of the Alvin Parker Coaches Show, our postseason edition, as we gear up for Saturday's first round matchup against Cal University of PA, a member of the PSAC conference. We're going to talk about that in just a minute, but we got to mention the postseason honors that Virginia Union received this season. A couple of players receiving Player of the Year for their respective position. Curtis Allen named Offensive Player of the Year, and rightfully so, for what he did before the game in the conference championship game. He had 2,098 yards, 25 touchdowns that set single season school records, tied the single season touchdown mark, and he's getting very, very close to the Division II single season mark after rushing for nearly 200 yards against JCSU this past weekend. He mentioned that was a goal to try to get 2,000. He eclipsed that, and he's got a shot in breaking the single season Division II mark.
Man, he's had a heck of a season. When you look at it sometime, and I get to watch him on a daily basis, so nothing he does surprises me. Everything he's gotten, every award he's received, every accolade, everything he's earned it. So it's a joy to see him play. So for him to be the offensive player of the year in the conference was something I'm pretty sure nobody was surprised about. With what he's done all season. So again, I'm extremely happy for Curtis.
And for his journey, I know Diego, Coach Rowland talked about that in an earlier show, for him to be in the portal a couple of times, had the conversation with Diego about, hey, getting that opportunity, took advantage of getting that first year starting opportunity, and the results speak for himself, what he was able to accomplish this year. Another guy that received tremendous accolades during his time here at Virginia Union, Brady Myers, Special Team Player of the Year, again, first team All-Conference. Is that 3 Special Team Players of the Year, 4-time All-Conference on Special Team? The young man from Florida has solidified his position as probably one of the all-time greats in his position at Virginia Union.
Has etched his name in the record books. And, I don't know when he can get on the ballot for Hall of Fame, but he's gonna be one of those guys.
Committee, listen.
So to be 3-time Player of the Year at his position, 4 consecutive years of being all conference, started all the way from his freshman year up until now. Man, I'm gonna miss him. He's been a special one for us.
And it's that position we don't get a lot of talk. We don't talk a lot about, but he's kind of to the side while you guys are working out. But he works on his craft diligently day after day, and again, the results speak for himself. The young man from Florida, family always comes to the games home and away.
Man, have not missed a game in 4 years. Shout out to y'all.
Yeah, that was
Myers family.
That was great for him to receive that honor. A couple other guys made first team All-Conference. 8 players total received All-Conference. We mentioned about what Curtis and Brady did. They also were first team All-Conference. Matthias Nielsen, young man from, Denmark, first team All-Conference. And then the transfer from Lincoln, Zaire Tart, special team, first team selection as well.
Yep. He was the punt returner. Yeah, he leads the nation right now in punt return yardage. And he was the special teams player of the year last year. So,
yes.
You speak about the last 4 years, somebody, from our organization has had their name listed on that award.
And then for the second team, we had a couple of linemen receive honors. Joseph Rounds, also Adrian Crespin received second team All-CIAA. Kamari Frederick on the defensive line, and also Joshua Mitchell, another special team player, received second team All-Conference this year.
Yeah, I thought we should have had a few more guys that had their name called, but it is what it is, and I think gives some of those guys some things to continue to reach for. We had a lot of guys on that list be named in terms of in the league, in terms of just guys who put up some great performances this year. So congratulations to all of those guys.
No question about it. I was a little surprised that only one offensive lineman was on the first team. Matthias, great season, no question about it. But I thought maybe one more, possibly 2, will be on the first team. But 3 offensive linemen receiving All-CIAA honors, either first or second team. So congratulations to all of the Panthers for receiving All-Conference honors this year, which sets up the postseason. It sets up the first round matchup against California University of Pennsylvania this weekend at Hovey. Second time in the last 4 years, Union opens the postseason at home, hosting a first round game against an opponent you have never faced before. Mm-hmm. How has that preparation worked out for you guys against an unknown in Cal PA?
It's been good to game plan for it. A lot of times, you go off the familiarity that you may have of an opponent. They don't have a lot of us. We don't have a lot of them. So, but I do know that Coach Dunn does a great job up there. Those guys are perennial in terms of what they're doing. And just like we made a run last year, all the way to the Elite Eight, those guys did too. Mm-hmm. So I have a grave amount of respect for what they're doing because I know how hard it is to do, and to kind of come back and be right back in the playoffs the next year, just speaks volumes to their program, the leadership that they have within their program. And they got a lot of special players over there. They got some guys who can really, really, really get it done. And that might be a broken record in the playoffs, because, everybody that makes it to the field has great coaches. Everybody that makes it to the field has great players. So, they're no exception to that, So we're looking forward to a challenge on Saturday.
And while you may not be familiar with the team itself, you are familiar with the conference and the style of play that the PSAC brings week in, week out, or year-to-year basis.
I mean, we played those guys 1 year in the playoffs when I was at Elizabeth City. So, while I might not have as much familiarity with them here at Virginia Union, I played against them one time when we traveled up there. And they were a good football team, so we know what the level the conference, the PSAC does. We know what they have. We know how those guys have sent the team out of this region the last probably years. I can't even count backwards of it. Those guys have represented, Region 1, with the finalists. So, but it's our job right now to have all guys prepared and have them ready to hit this field, knowing what's at stake and knowing the type of ball they got to play to be able to make a run.
I saw a stat. I think, if I'm right, the last road playoff game they've had was 2007. It's been like nearly 20 years since they have not played a road game in the postseason. Is that a big deal for you guys to kind of take advantage of being at home against a team that is not used to playing in the postseason away from home?
It could be looked that way, Sean. I mean, last year they made the Elite Eight run with all home games. So that says something, about just what you've done during the season, to be able to get a home game and continuously get a home game, so that's something that, makes a difference. But I think, just being, postseason ready is more than anything else. 32 teams get in the field, half got to go on the road, half get to play at home. So, I don't think that could be an excuse because last year when we made the run, we were on the road.
I was going to say, yeah.
So, just feel good about getting in and playing your ball and giving yourself as many chances as you possibly could.
And before we let you go, again, Saturday at Hovey, 1 o'clock kickoff against California University of Pennsylvania. Any final thoughts about hopefully the great fan support coming out and just what to expect for this group Saturday against Cal?
I mean, we've had record crowds this season, and I want to see if we can get the same thing on Saturday. It's the third time in school history that we've had a home playoff game, so not that many, but so it's something to still celebrate. And I think all the guys will love the support. They've seen it all season. We've had great crowds all season. So, hopefully the weather's good. Hopefully everything holds up and, we'll be ready to play Saturday to present, the fans with something to see.
And hopefully we can come back here next week, talk about a win, and set up hopefully a possible third meeting against JCSU down there for a trip to the Sweet 16, essentially at that point, right? Or Elite Eight.
Be Elite Eight again.
Elite Eight.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we're going to get our fingers crossed for Coach. Good luck to you. Continued success, and hopefully we'll talk about a W next week.
Appreciate it.
And we hope everybody comes out to Hovey. Like Coach said, hopefully a great crowd comes out to see Virginia Union play their third ever postseason home game at Hovey as they take on Cal University of Pennsylvania. For some reason, the weather doesn't cooperate. You can watch the game on ESPN+, but we do want you to come out to Hovey and see the Panthers take on the Vulcans of Cal, PA. And we'll be back here next week to talk about it and hopefully talk about a win and a potential second-round matchup against those dastardly Golden Bulls of JCSU. For the coach and for our entire crew, I'm Sean Robertson. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again here on the Alvin Parker Coaches Show.
UBU 100 is a global mindset and thought process that promotes self-care, positive relationship building practices, and the building of stronger communities. UBU 100 provides accelerated college and career readiness life skills training for students that attend Martin Luther King Jr. Middle School in the city of Richmond. Follow us at ubu100.org to learn more about our fabulous program. UBU 100.
Football is more than a game. It's a legacy built by trailblazers who paved the way for the next generation. I remember the doubters, but I refuse to let anyone define my limits. To the game changers who came before us and to the ones who are yet to step into the field, keep pushing boundaries, keep breaking records, and keep leaving your mark.
Peace.